here you go.
Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another Financial Friday. Yes, we're rising up out of our financial slumps and we're thriving into financial freedom. This is all about financial freedom. I'm
Oh
your host,
yeah.
Dr. A.D. Burns, and my co-host, brother, minister, uh, chief, servant, Brother Jones. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Pastor? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome, man. It's been so exciting. I've been seeing people who's talking about the 90-day challenge. I saw somebody today who was that was going through their 90-day challenge book, and so I'm really excited that we got some people that's gearing up for the road to six figures.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about that. And so we got I think about 4 weeks after the night. Well, tonight included, I think we got about 5 weeks left. And
Yeah.
so I'm really excited about it. And my editor is a little behind. We got a lot on the plate, but I'm waiting on our book to get back out of edit. I'm ready to send it to print. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting journey to six figures. And one of the things I've been have to talk about a lot is, to remind people, that six figures really is not a lot. I mean, it's a lot when you don't have anything, but in the course of being able to survive in the world that we live in, six figures is really not that much. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think it all depends on where we live and where we plan on going. Um, so for the average American, one thing that I think the average American, $100,000 is definitely a start in the right direction.
Mhm.
For like all the teachers that got laid off due to administrational policies or politics, right? $100,000 will be nice for them to have. For the teachers who are still working, $100,000 will be nice to have. So it's not necessarily that six figures isn't enough. It's what what are we actually doing with the six figures? Because I make six figures and I don't think it's enough sometimes. and,
Yeah.
and, some, and sometimes I think it's more than enough. I want the biggest thing is that I want people to be able to establish themselves. And I think if they establish themselves, then some people will make six figures and they will go on and live a good life. And for those who are okay or they don't make six figures, but they have the lifestyle that they need, I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest thing that we would like everyone to have is them to be financially secure, financially stable, and to be working towards a life. Um,
So would
but
you
to
say
answer your question,
a person who has six figure, they rich?
no, no, no.
Not at
Uh,
all.
oh no. Well, I guess I got to say at what level. I think I was having this with a colleague of mine, and somebody else asked me the same thing. I can't see my own success, so I don't. So in my head, me taking over a whole NPS school system or being part owner of a bank, then I'll start realizing that I am hitting success. But all the stuff that I've done now, I don't know if it's successful because I haven't achieved what God give the vision that God gave me. So
Hmm.
I think that's the thing that when I say I don't think six figures is enough, is because my vision is to bring up a whole community of people and to teach a whole generation. So my idea of how much money that would take to do is massive. But let's say somebody isn't given that vision. If somebody is given the vision of taking care of your family, understanding law, being able to hold your house down, well, then six figures may be enough. So that's why I I I don't like saying money is nothing because money can't answer all our earthly needs. Money can answer those earthly needs. It's just that whatever vision we have, that's that's how we can achieve or we can talk about success.
Well, that's a good way to dance around that answer.
Yeah,
I,
because
I would say, and you touched on some things that we're going to be getting into. I think on the last lesson we talk about generational wealth, and we talk about legacy.
yeah,
However, when we talk about six figures, whether you're working and not working, six
yeah,
figures is really not a lot of money, and you could burn through six figures very quickly. And it's really not
yeah,
about the money as getting the six figures as much as it is about creating that lifestyle, those habits. You know, on the road to
yeah.
six figures is like they have the saying, they say that if you give a person a sandwich, they'll eat for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. So
Yes,
the
that's
road
really
to
something.
six
Yeah,
figures is about teaching you how to fish. It's
yes,
about being able, if you develop these habits, then you will be able to live financially free the rest of your life. And whether you have six figures in the bank or not, if you develop these habits, you would always be financially free. And of course, if you develop these habits, you will go way beyond six figures. But it's really about teaching you how to fish. And I think the biggest part when it comes to having money is the habits, the habits that we have, and being able
oh
to
yeah,
value money, large or small. Because sometimes, a person will look at $1 or $20 and say that ain't no money, so they'll go blow it,
yeah,
in the service station, get some junk food. But when you begin to value money, yeah, I struck a nerve. That struck a nerve.
yeah. I be eating junk food. That's why you. Uh, I'll be
No,
that person at the gas
I like my
station eating
chips. I like
food.
my chips and popcorn mix, and my
Yeah,
and my hot stuff popcorn. Yeah, and so it's about building habits. On the road to six figures is about building habits, and that's what this
yeah,
90-day challenge is about. It's about building the right habits that you can begin to generate wealth, and you can hold on to wealth. If we just jump
yeah,
right into the road to six figures, you'll probably burn through it faster than you can make it, and you'll get it and you'll go right away spending it because you have this flow coming. But if you grab
yeah,
hold of these habits in this 90-day challenge, then you'll slow it down, you pump your brakes, and you'll start following some of these principles that we're teaching you, watching your money, assigning your money, using your savings account as a
yeah,
parking lot, to
yeah,
temporarily build so that you can assign it to some of the things that James is going to be talking about tonight. When we talk
yes,
about the whole idea of having a high yield savings plan. For those of you who
yeah,
don't want, you say I ain't ready for the investments or whatever, and but you can start with a savings plan. You can start right where you are. Now my mind has been open to these since last week. Last week's Financial Friday got me charged. I've been, when I
yeah,
listen to the news, I listen to the news differently now.
yeah,
I would listen to the news and they was talking about this new drug that China has come up with to cure cancer. Well, I don't know about cure, but a new cancer drug that's taken off, and they just opened up the IPO to the United States. So I was up in the middle of the night, trying to sign up to Robinhood, trying to get me an
yeah,
account in Robinhood, and so I could go see how much. They said that it was like $17 a share or something like that.
yeah,
And I'd imagine that once that drug take off, that it could be easily $100 or $200 a share. And so, I'm just be guessing, you know what I'm saying? But the point that I'm making is after last week, talking about investments and stuff, when I listen to, a lot of times people hear bad news, but in the midst of that bad news, there's opportunity, you know.
yeah.
So it just depends on how you tune.
I know.
So
I think that's the best thing. That's the best. That was some of the best news that you could ever say about investing. That's the best thing.
what's
Even
that?
while even when you hear about the bad things, if you keep your eye keen enough, you can hear the good stuff. You can hear all the opportunities, and
Yeah.
that's one of the ways. One of my brothers, I was trying to tell him the same thing. Is that just because something looks bad, it doesn't mean you can't get a lot of good stuff out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good news that you said that.
Yeah, yeah. So as we listening at a lot of the things that's going on, even like when President Trump was talking about, he signed this executive order for some type of digital coin or something.
Yeah,
And so I right away I went. I said, okay, I need to go look that up. So I bought me some Bitcoin over the
yeah,
weekend. You know, and so,
yeah,
listening, he said he signed the executive order, and then he said, this is going to make us a lot of money. That's what he said.
yeah.
And right now, it was going down. When I checked the stock, it was down. And I said, well, that's when you want to buy it, when it's low, right?
Yes, buy when it's low.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to say last Financial Friday was great. I learned a lot, and I've been putting that into practice, looking for, different opportunities now. I made a couple of investments since last week, bought me, I think $100 worth of Bitcoin. I mean,
Yeah,
not big, but, because remember we
yeah.
talked about don't invest what you can't afford to lose. And
Yes.
so then, I had some, my money was assigned out. I found a little extra $100 sitting over there. So I said, okay, let's put that bad boy to work, and so it's been
That's what I'm talking about.
so listen, let's go ahead and jump in for tonight. We're talking about high yield savings plan, and then we're talking about the power of compound interest. And so which
Interest.
one you want to
Yes.
start with?
We're gonna do the power of compound interest, and I'm gonna go at it from two different angles. One,
Okay.
I'm going at it from the stock angle, and then I'm going at it from the savings angle is first, stock angle is second, and then the high yield savings plan is third. So everything is about the high yield savings plan. Oh wow. So the biggest thing we want to do is we want to talk about compounding interest. But most people don't understand how that can be effective because compound interest takes the money that you're investing or the money that you put inside, and now over the course of a month, $50, if it brung back 5%, now got you $52.05. Now you're investing 52.5, and that 52.5 over the next course of a week brings you back in roughly 52.75. But over time, that money continues to grow, and that's how we actually make money over time. But with a high yield savings plan, if you do it correctly, you can see it over time. So
So let's talk a
that
little more about that compound interest, because when you talk about compound interest, you talk about you put in as little and it snowballs into this great, right?
yes,
Okay, so let's talk about that so that we make sure everybody have a clear understanding how a
okay.
little bit can grow into a lot through compound interest.
So it's a high yield savings plan is how the snowball works. So in order to do this, I want to go over a savings account. So the basics of a savings account is that you're putting money in, but at the interest rate in which they charge, you're not making any money, and it can't grow. It will never snowball because of the interest rate in which you're being given. So you can put $1,000 in, and it can sit for a whole year, and you'll still be at $1,000. You'll be at $1,000 and two pennies, pretty much.
Mhm.
The benefit for a stocks is that when you put the money in, it's very volatile. So it goes high and low, high and low, high and low. And you're hoping that the at the end, when you're ready to take it out, that the starting point is lower than the end point. So it's volatile, but when it reaches to the end, you want to make sure that what you put in is the same. Now the now they both have benefits. So the savings account or the savings plan, not the high yield, but the savings plan has a benefit of being structured and it has reduced risk. That's similar to a high yield account. They both have reduced risk. However, the stock market has the ability of, as you put money in over time, the volatility of it can produce a good outcome that is similar to high yield, except your is not as high as a savings as a stock can do, but you also don't have the volatility of it falling out or the bottom dropping out, which means that you lost all your money, which the stocks do have. So you get more leverage to make more interest or more compound interest over time. However, you don't have the con of it falling out like the stock. So it's a good median for those who are retiring. So I'll go into way more detail as we go into it.
Now, I had a little video, but I watched it, and it seemed like it it was kind of complicated to me. You know,
Oh,
it didn't make a lot of sense what they were saying, and so I want to show it, and I want to see
oh,
what's your thoughts on that. All right,
okay. Yeah.
all right. Let's see what it say. All right, do you see it?
Yes, I do. I can't hear it. Do you want to switch? You want to switch frames? I can't. I can't quite.
You can't hear the sound.
Yeah, I cannot hear it right now.
Okay, all right. Let me do something different then. Um, yeah, because
Okay.
I was trying to figure it out, and then I said, I don't know that's not making a lot of sense to me. And
Okay.
they was using the compound interest. It was the formula, the P, which was the principal, and it was going out through it like that. And I was like,
Oh, there is a formula for compounding interest, and it's a very unique formula, and it's what we use in real estate all the time. That's how we predict how much money we have to pay in interest over the course of the loan.
okay,
Uh, so compound interest is a it's I don't have the I didn't put the equation up on any of my slide decks, but you can look it up. Compound interest is a very I want to say very easy equation. It's an equation that is used by most of your investors use compound interest equations. A lot of your bankers who do home mortgages, a lot of your hard money lenders, they also use compound interest. That's how everyone can decide if the value of an item is worth the investment of money or commodities for an item. So
okay.
compound interest is nice.
Now I'm gonna put it on the screen, but I ain't gonna let it roll. Uh, can you see the formula that he's using right there?
Yes,
Now, is that the formula you're talking about?
I believe so. So you got I want to say A is the amount of what you get. P is the principal.
So,
One is like a percentage.
so it's like a
So
one
R is
minute video.
rate of
Let's
return.
listen to it one.
Pass, I can't hear the volume.
You can't hear it?
Yeah, I can't hear the volume of it.
Okay, well, we're gonna leave that alone then. I don't know what's going on with the volume because I can hear it on my end, um, but I don't know why you're not hearing it. But yeah, I
Oh,
want people to be able to see how that adds up, because it's important that we understand a little bit adds up quickly when it compounds. And a lot of times I think we don't leave it alone long enough for it to grow because we don't understand the formula. We don't understand how, it multiplies itself over time. And I think that's very important when we talk about saving money. A lot of times, like Pastor Angela said on Sunday, she talked about the farmer. The farmer don't go out and just throw some seeds out there and then come back looking for something. You know what I mean? A farmer
yes.
is intentional about sowing seeds in good ground, and then he comes out with an expectation for a harvest. So I'm saying to us as we look at this savings, we have to do that intentionally, and we have to be patient so that we can get a harvest. And a lot of times I think we'll put the money up and it'll grow and then we'll eat it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? All right, so I'm gonna let you keep going. I know I keep jumping in there on that one,
No,
but I
no,
was
that's okay. Go.
compound interest. I had my little videos, but they didn't play. So let's just go ahead. Talk to us.
Oh, okay. So let me get this started real quickly. Good evening, everyone, and hello to all my grinders. So we finna get this started real quickly, real easily. The biggest thing everybody gotta be concerned with is that when they talk about savings, I'm not talking about putting your money away for a emergency fund or putting your money away for like a overdraft protection. What I'm gonna what One of the things I'm gonna show you is the how you put money away, and then that's gonna become your overdraft. I'll show you that as the weeks come to as the weeks come across. Also, I'm gonna show you how stocks work. Now, I'm a fan of real estate, but I'm also a fan of stocks. I'm a fan of savings, and I'm a fan of high yielding savings. All of these play a part in a portfolio. A portfolio is the biggest thing that everyone needs to have or have an understanding of. So, uh, if you want to, Pastor, do you have the slide deck? Is the slide deck available?
Slide deck. I think our producer was going to do the slide deck. Uh,
Oh,
what
gotcha.
what
Uh, so with so with the right slide deck, what's going to happen is
did you email it to me?
I think hold on for 1 second. It should be available. I remember it being available. Okay, it was available. It was definitely available, but that's okay. So the yeah, I did email it to everybody.
Okay. Well,
The
yeah. Well,
biggest
I can reach for it right quick.
okay,
No worries.
um,
No worries.
okay,
And we can get it up there real quickly.
yeah, no worries for the rest of the days. I know it's a Kuna Matata. Uh, so if I want to get everybody started, the biggest things we all got to be thinking about or be in line with is the very first thing that you got to think about is the savings account. So with the biggest thing we're going to talk about is the savings account. The savings account is how we get everything started. By getting everything started, you're more than able at putting everything together.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay. So when you can put everything together, you now have a savings account. And I will show you how those small increments can become your overdraft protection. Now, the reason why I'm showing you how this works, I'm going to show you how it started. So I took $5.98, I put it inside of my overdraft protection, and I purposed $10 to fall inside there. The $10 that I'm using was my food money. Normally, I eat about $50 a day in food. Don't ask me why. I like eating. It feels good to me. So normally, I'm eating about $50 a day in food. So I brought that down to $40 a day, and I start putting about $10 away into a savings account, and I start pocketing the rest for sanity and for a special gift I'm gonna get myself after the 90-day challenge. fast forwarding, Fast forward that I will show you how those $10 increments actually start producing a pretty decent result. That's in the savings account. When it goes over to when it goes over to the next one is there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have it. Okay.
It ain't working the way I think it should work.
I don't think so either.
I don't know if our producer is there. Let me see.
That is perfectly okay. We go.
Let me see.
That okay. That's good. Okay, Pastor. We are just gonna let that go. So don't worry. Just because there's a slight issue, we can take most of that stuff up on the back screen. Oh, you hit the presentation button.
Okay, where is that at?
If you're gonna go down and then you're gonna go to your right, it's gonna be three icons. Those three icons, no, to your right, it's gonna be three icons, and you're gonna hit the
Right here.
present button. No, that's to your left. You're gonna go to your other right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Okay,
All right.
that's that is
All
there. There you go. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody, welcome to Rise and Thrive. I'm James Jones. Let's get into it. We're talking about Financial Fridays. We're talking about compounding interest as well as investing and creating a high yielding savings. Passing to the next one. Now, the reason why we like savings accounts, and we always want to start at start. So if you have the ability to start any account, you want to start with a savings account. There's a couple things savings accounts can do. One, they grow like plotted flowers. And I say that because one, it's housed inside of a reputable company in which you know. So choose any bank or credit union and they have a savings account. It's like a potted flower. It's a company that you know that's going to keep your money safe as it grows. It also it also currently provides the best protection for your money, but it doesn't give enough interest for it to be anything other than if you put $100 in your account, the next month you'll put $100 into your account and you'll water it with another $100. At the end, you'll only have $300. But it is the best way to show money growth. So for children or youth out there and they want to get something started, that would be the best way to show growth. Now, Pat, you want to go to the next one? This is how a savings account looks once you grow the very next slide is going to show you.
Okay.
Now this is going on with one of my accounts. It is a very simple setup. I am putting away $10 a week. If you notice, by January 3rd to January 14th, I already have an account balance of around $75. And that's just putting away $10 a week, and I will be at $100 before the month of March. I'm using this truly as a test account to show people how things work. In the coming months, I'll show you what it looks like to have an account that's strictly for your overdraft. So this is an overdraft account. I'm gonna overdraft it by $5, and I'm gonna show you how that works. Correction, I'm not gonna overdraft the account. I'm utilizing it as a buffer, which helps my money grow and it helps me have a buffer, which I'm gonna show you in the weeks to come how a buffer works. So this is producing an emergency fund. So when you produce an emergency fund, it should resemble something like what I'm going to show you in the future. But for right now, I'm showing you how to grow your emergency fund, and it's growing like a plotted flower. And it's the best way to protect your money, and it's the best way to show growth. So when you look at this, you can see that your money is growing in increments, but it is growing.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now, the next one is the fun one. So when it comes to savings accounts, most people want to be able to see their money, and a lot of people want to understand. But most savings accounts don't have compound interest. Now we're going to go into the stocks. Pastor, do you have the stocks up?
So when you're talking about this whole idea of growing and safe now, we're still saying that uh, the savings account is where we are parking it for the assignment.
Now remember, when we say that, it has a purpose. So when you park it for your savings account, it's until it reaches a certain level, and then it will go in. Excuse me. It will go into your investments, or it will go into your high yield savings accounts.
Hmm.
Because this is all part of a plan. The plan is your savings account is a temporary holding account. Once you get done holding the money or the money hits a certain dollar amount, you want to move it over so it can produce what it is it's supposed to produce. Like if you're gonna move it over to a CD, or you're gonna buy stocks with it, or you're
Hmm.
gonna buy bonds with it. A savings account is not meant to house your money, for long periods of time. It is only suitable for a short period of time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to the next slide.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'll go back one more time. Now, when you talk about investing, investing has pros and cons as well. But in investing is like growing a tree. One, and when you invest, you have room to grow. Everything is at your fingertips. You can go high, you can go low, you can go with penny stocks, you can go with hedge funds, you can grow wherever you want to grow. But you got to make sure that you're doing it correctly and you're doing it in the best manner you can
Mhm.
possible. However, investing does have cons or it has risk. Unlike a savings account, which doesn't grow significantly, you now have a you now have a investment account which can grow exponentially. It
Mhm.
can also it doesn't the benefit of it, I guess that's the best way to put it. The
Okay.
benefit of having an investment account is that it has room to grow and it can double up very quickly. It can grow exponentially over the course of time, and it's the best way to grow money over time. And the reason for that is because as you put money in, if you play the game correctly, and it is a game, if you play the game correctly, you could produce a large sum of money in relatively a short amount of time, and you could produce an even larger amount of money over the course of time. Because as you buy shares in a company, somebody else is also buying shares, which improves the probability of that share. And then over time, you will make money. If you're going to go to the next slide, this is how it just so happened that this is a really good company. I can't tell you the name, but these are stocks out there that are running like this. If you look from 2004 to 2000 to from 2004 to 2023, this is how stocks grow. Excuse me. So at first, it starts in 2024. I bought a share of stocks at around $55 a share. As the years went on, right, and there's been some discrepancies. I guess that's the best way to put it. There are some discrepancies. So if you see where it says peak fear, this is off of just another computer. So there are some places where the market has dipped down. So I have lost money in the short term. But if you look at the end of it, so you talk about a 20-year difference. So in 20 years, with if I only had one share, I went from $55, I'm now at $106.
Mhm.
If you talk about 100 shares or 600 shares of $55. Now remember, we're buying shares over time, not all in the beginning. But as you gradually buy shares over time, those shares are doubling up. So when you do pull all of your money out, you're pulling them out at $106 a share, not at the $55 a share. So your rate of return is decent. Okay. Now, when it comes to investing, there are good and bad to investing. As good as it can be to make a lot of money, there's also discrepancies with making or having the ability to make a lot of money. It's called risk, and it is how the stock market works. Somebody may win, somebody may lose, but if you do it correctly, you'll be going through the motions, but in the end, you will get your money. And the reason for that is, it's a long story, but the reason why they set it up like that is so you can invest in a company, become an investor, and investors are people who make a lot more money and they pay less in taxes. So that's the end result. The end result is for everyone to become an investor because over time you will make a significant amount of money, and as you pull your money out, you'll get hit with capital gains tax, which is significantly less than what the average person who works a job will make in taxes.
Okay.
The long and short of it. So at the end, it is going to be. an investor. Whew, that sounds like a whole lot, but we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more. The bad things about investing is that one, when you have your ups and downs through investing, you have to figure out if that's what you want to still do. Investings are like a roller coaster. So just because I may have one that is doing a good job, that doesn't mean all of them are doing well. Some of them are bottoming out, which means some of them go up and then they go down and they are out of the game. Quite frankly, a lot of companies go up and then they bottom out. Some companies go in, they stay, they have longevity, and they can produce an income. The reason why this all happens is because if you noticed the the rate of failure is that for a business to be in business longer than 5 years, there's a 95% chance that they fail. If you take that 95% chance, that means 5% of all businesses that make it past 5% of all businesses that start make it past 5 years. Of that, of that, of that 5% that made it, some of those are just breaking even, which means they're not producing what they want to produce, and they need to work a lot of hours just to keep the lights on. But some of those new businesses are making it. So when I say that, I'm telling you that when you play the stock market game, not all companies you invest in are going to be profitable. Some of them will break even, some will fail. So you have to make sure that you're doing your due diligence to pick the right product. Whew. I do like investing, but that was like a mouthful, and I'm trying to get everybody on the right page.
Okay.
Um, Now, the last one is one that I like myself, and it's the high yield savings accounts. Now, I use high yield savings accounts for multiplicity of things. A high yield savings account has a lot of benefits for those who are retiring, and it's the best thing I can see that sets you up to make a residual amount of money. If you was to put even amount of $100,000 into a high yield savings account, you're producing everything more than 4%. You sometimes they're producing 4.5, sometimes they're producing um, 4.0, but they're always producing a interest rate. And just living off the interest rate, you're able to invest most of your money in or utilize your money to do other stuff. So that's why I like high yielding savings accounts.
Okay.
And I think a high yield savings account is like the best of both worlds.
So,
Pastor, before I get into it, you got any questions?
so
I
is
got
this the one you're talking about right there?
yes, yes, yes.
All right. So,
Now, go ahead, Pastor.
no, I was just going to reiterate, what it says there as far as reduce the risk of overstocks and good for retirees and best use of city money. And
Yes,
so, and so we talked about that whole idea of having money parked, you know, doing it with a high yield. And so understanding that when we talk about the idea of being able to have money working for you or money on assignment, it's important that we get to a place where we have a plan for the money that we have. And so there he goes. We have a plan for the money. He's talking about me popping out uh, this section. So having a plan for your money and having your money assigned and being able to watch your money where you have it, because money is currency, so it flows. And so you
Yeah.
can't just, set it and forget it. And you want to look for the best opportunities to use your money to grow your money. And whether that's putting it in a risk or a low risk, you want to be able to grow what you have and not take it and stuff it under your mattress. All right.
Yeah. You always want to be able to be moving your money to the to the right devices. Uh, so when it comes to creating a high yield savings plan, I can't stress this enough. This is where everyone needs to be planning on having their money.
Hmm.
And I don't want to say that this is it, and I don't want to tell you that this is the best way of utilization of your money, but I can tell you that as good as the stocks are, as good as a savings, the thought of a savings could be, high yield savings plan is where your emergency fund needs to be kept. And I think that's where we just need to know, like, what are we doing? There's a lot of companies that are producing a 4% interest rate or higher on their savings accounts. So your plan, if you're taking notes, remember the plan is to put yourself in a high yield savings plan, because at 4%, once you hit your six figures, your 4% can produce a passive or a residual income for that will carry you along. Plus, on top of that, is that once you get used to that residual income, you don't have to touch the $100,000 you put in there, which may be 120, it may be 130, and then you're producing 4% of that. So the plan is put your assets in place, and then you're living off the residual of your assets. So you can still maneuver, you can still live life, and then that will create financial stability.
Okay, and so you have one more slide there.
Yes.
You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Now here you go. Now, if you're looking at both of these, right, then eventually you will come and say, well, why would I put my money into a stock when I can just put it into a savings account? Well, this where a high yielding savings account is better than both. When you look at these two, the one on my right or the one on your left, our left, that one is producing about $50 a month. $50 a month over 12 months is, if my math serves me correctly, right? That's only going to give me about $600, $300 a year. If my math serves me correctly, 50 times 60 gives me 300 or 3,000. I think it's 300. Am I right? It's only $300, right?
Say that again.
50. So you take 50,
Mm-hmm.
because you're making $50 a month. 50 times 12. Oh no, it's not 50 times 12. Yeah, $50 times 12 is only gonna make
600.
600. Man, that don't sound like a lot of money, do it? Because I did it in my head and I was like, that's not a lot of money.
Well,
but it's not supposed to be, right?
no, not at you doing 50 times 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm laughing because even when I thought about it, I'm like, that's not a lot of money. I was like, I must have did it wrong. Like, no, I didn't. I didn't do it wrong. 50 times $50 in a month times 12 gives you $600. But that's just the start, though.
Right.
Remember, the savings is not meant to be where you sit your money. It's where you temporarily house your money to put it into what? The stock market, or to your bonds, or to create a high yielding savings account.
Right.
A high yielding savings account at 4% is what you need in order to compound your interest. It uses compound interest in order to build your money. The funny part is next week I will show you. Hopefully, I can figure out how to show you a high yielding savings account without giving too much of my own information. I always think that is so much fun because that's the formula.
So yeah. Now is this the formula?
Yes.
All right. Now explain that to us.
Okay. So the amount, I'll explain it from A to NT, right? So the amount that you put in, or the amount you expect to get, the principal is the $50 you're putting in every month.
Mhm.
That's the P. The 1 is your rate. So you got your interest rate, which is R, and the number of interest is compounded per year. So if you take the 1 out, when it says you got 4.9 APR,
Mhm.
that's how you get that through the R divided by N.
Okay.
And the 1 is just to signify the status. So you put 1 in front of any interest rate, and then if it's 4, if you're doing 4.9%, you do 100 1049%, or not 49, but 104.9, and then you multiply that, and then you will have the 1 will give you your principal, and then the RN is going to give you your interest.
Okay.
It's math, but that's the way in which it works. The NT is your time, or how long your money will stew. So the easiest way to think about it. So if you had to think about it, if you can see my mouse, you probably can't. So if you had to think about it, the amount is A. Now this is going to create like a small circle. So when you do 1 plus RN, 1 plus R over N, NT. That's like a giant cycle. So it's like a cycle. It goes up, it goes down. So it's like you take your amount, you go up into the interest rate, you go down for the number of times you're going to do it, and you circle it as many times as you have years. That produces your amounts. It's like a washing machine. If you want to put it in for 5 years, you crank the knob to 5 years, you cycle it through, and then you produce the amount, which is what it would be in 5 years.
Okay. Now I don't know if they like me, but you know, that sounds kind of a little I don't want to say complicated. I'm just leave it alone. I'm gonna look for a different one for people like me. Now,
Don't worry.
I do get the amount and the principal. So the amount, would that be the $600?
No, that's principal is $600.
No, the principal is $50. We do $50.
Remember, you're putting $50 away. So $150.
Right. So $150 would be the principal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then plus,
I want to do it to end up with $600. So I'm gonna do it. The NT, I'm gonna do it for a year, right? 12 months.
The what I want to tell you is that the way you're doing it has to be, it has to be the entire time. So in theory, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do one payment, which is one principal.
Mm-hmm.
That 50 is gonna be the number of times, which would be 52 times, right? That's 52 times 1, and that's one equation. The very next week, you got to do another equation for 50, which is your principal, times 1 plus the rate, which is 0, which would be 52 times, right? That's 52 times 1, and that's one equation. The very next week, you got to do another equation for 50, which is your principal, times 1 plus the rate, which is 0 or 0.01%. And then the next time is going to be 51 weeks, 1 year.
All right, say cheese. Say cheese.
Okay, don't worry. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna pull up a high yield savings account. I'll do what I did. I'll just erase all the inconclusive information off of it, and I will show everybody how compound interest is very beneficial to everybody. And I will show the numbers, because one thing I do know, people can see dollars a whole lot easier than they can see equations.
Okay.
So I will bring up how that looks in terms of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the numbers may be a little bit high, but I don't want you to worry about the numbers, because you can always erase or add zeros to it, because some of you probably got $1 billion in the bank. Some of you probably got 1,000. Somebody has 2 quarters. So you can find where you are in that path and just add zeros or remove zeros, and then you can see how your money grows with compound interest. I think that would probably be better. I don't want to get anybody lost in I don't want to get anybody lost in knowing the equation, because there's a lot of computers out there that can do the equation for you if you don't know how to do math. Yeah. However, looking at money, people are a lot more adept at seeing their money grow exponentially or seeing their money fall. With a high yield savings account, not only will the $50 you put in, you'll be able to see that money is producing money. So I will work extra hard to make sure that is the case, and that you have the ability to see how that looks. I just got to get past myself and be like, okay, cool. We're doing this for the people. Let's show everybody what a high yield savings account is. And I think a high yield savings account is the go-to move for a lot of places. And I use it to siphon off. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but I use a high yield savings account to aid in a strategy. So the high yield savings account is part of a strategy. So I use my regular savings account to make about $500 to $600, and I move that over into an emergency fund. That emergency fund is part of a lot of other money coming inside of it, which produces an interest rate, or it produces a principal. That principal, when it reaches a certain level, it will self-produce money over time. And then I can push that to the side, and then I can start another one.
And that's the part I want everybody to get, that part there, because that gives you a goal, if you will, what to look for. And because you're looking for that sweet spot right there where you can roll that baby over, or, be able to do, like you say, siphon off some or whatever it is, so that you don't take money before it's time. There is a time that you can't pull something and still keep on letting that thing build, but if you do that too soon, then you mess up the formula.
Yes.
And so that's why I was wanting to help them to see that formula. But now I know what I'm saying, but I don't know how to read the formula. But I do know there's a sweet spot that, where it began to work for you,
Yeah, and I will show everybody that formula next week. I'm pretty sure I can put everything together, and then I can show you how that looks. Hopefully, I can show you how that looks in real time. If not, I'll give you an example of what real time looks like how it works, because it's every month. It's not every week. It's actually every month. But you'll see the portion of that interest falling. You'll see the portion of the interest growing, and then you'll see how that money is being dispersed.
Yeah, and that's going to be important, because now you're driving. Now you actually in control of your money, and you have a sense of what you're looking for. You have a sense of when to turn left and turn right. You don't have to kill it to do something else. You can pull it off and take that part and start something different, whether it's stocks or a CD or whatever. And once you understand that, then all you need is a little patience and use that strategy, and you'll be able to grow money. Yeah.
Oh, Pastor, if you want to, we can hold off on week number 9, and I can go in and I will show them a little bit of how I do high yield savings accounts, because I do like them a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'll show the sweet spot, and I'll show how you utilize that sweet spot to start managing your pocketbook a little bit easier. and because that creates financial stability. Once you have financial stability in a product, you move that product to the side, and then you start another product. And the reason why we do that is so you want to be able to have something that you can bounce other cards off of, you can bounce other loans off of, you can bounce property off of. And it's once you have a certain amount. And I will put that together and I'll show everybody, because I know we'll be in week 9, but I want to make sure, Pastor, I do hear you. Mm-hmm. And I hear you and I hear those out there. So I will put it in a very easy to follow financial structure, and then I will show how that money starts producing other money.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was just looking at week 9, and we can fit that in.
Okay.
Week 9 is about overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
So identifying financial hurdles and pitfalls, and that could be a hurdle, right? And get into that sweet spot. Solution for common challenges, and so we can look at that. Staying motivated and focused, and accountability partners and support groups. And so week 9 is about overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
And so I believe we can fit that in, because I think that's going to be important.
Yeah.
Because knowing when to make the move is important for, when you get antsy, you could, you know what I mean? You kind of know it's coming. Okay. You could be, you know what I'm saying? You could be more wise in the decisions that you make when it comes to your money, and not just, be shooting from the hip,
Yeah.
It's a lot to understand about money, and savings could be an easy thing, but understanding and calculating how much you're trying to make with that, you need to understand a little more about just putting it in the bank and watching the bank statement. You need to be intentional about where you're putting it at and what you're going to get in return, because different banks have different interest rates, right?
Yes.
And so and so making sure you're getting the right product that you're putting your money in. And so when you got that working, you working your job, you got that working, you got your savings working, you got your stocks working. Now you got quite a couple of incomes coming in, even though they may not be large in the beginning. Developing those habits and starting to educate yourself and understand what you're doing, it just creates a bigger opportunity for you. And then as you take those things and roll them over, siphon them off and move them around, you'll start seeing that snowball effect. And before you know it, you'll be in the money. Yeah.
And I think those are the fun things, that once you see how your money is making money, that's how you could, I can already tell you there's a lot of obstacles that happen because you don't know you're there until you get there.
Yeah.
Until all your bills are paid off of the money that's already making money, or off your investments that are bringing in enough income. And that's when you can start taking time off. You could like, I'm going to retire, or I'm going to stop working. Why? Because I'm working because I want to just work and have fun, versus I'm working because I got to pay all these bills. I'm working because I got all this debt I'm in. No, I'm working just to have fun right now, because I know if I stop today, the bills will be paid. The credit cards will be paid. No, because my money is already doing what I assigned it to do. And that will be one of the bigger obstacles. So I will show that, how that looks. And there is a sweet spot. So you don't need to have $3.8 billion to hit the sweet spot. It is 6 figures. The funny part is that it is, once you start making 6 figures, you will see the sweet spot. But there's so many advantages to having that amount of money. So that's why when you said earlier, is it worth it? I was like, it depends. And I will show more. I would definitely show more next week.
Well, listen, we're about out of time for another Financial Friday. No, time goes really fast when you're having fun, and this certainly has been a ball. I am so excited. I'm looking forward to some. We're going to have a 6-figure ball, where everybody dress up and come out, and we'll give away some $sign lapel pins or something. You're part of the 6-figure club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're out of time. What's your closing comments, Brother James?
I'll see y'all next week with another Financial Fridays.
All right. Well, listen, thank you again for tuning in. God bless you. And listen, remember, we are rising up out of our financial slumps, and we are thriving in financial freedom. Look forward to seeing you on next week as we look at some overcoming obstacles, and we get ready to release the book. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. What else can I say in 20 seconds?
We're gonna have a live Financial Fridays. We're gonna have a live Financial Fridays.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it live. That's right.
Yes, we're gonna do a live one.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna eat a bunch of food, and it's gonna be awesome.
Okay. No, we said we're gonna eat a bunch of food. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, thank you again for tuning in. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Financial Friday. Peace. We out of here.